Can you always trust ChatGPT? The clear answer is no. But why is it so successful, and why is everyone using it, and why am I recommending to use it? Well, let's dive into it, and also at the end I'm going to show you how you can make sure that you are actually getting the facts right. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing that I want to display is hallucinations. So what are hallucinations? Well, it's basically when your large language model is coming up with some facts that aren't true. So for example, I asked ChatGPT 4.5 what are the levels of hallucination in GPT 4.5, and it says GPT 4.5 isn't officially labeled as such by OpenAI. Currently the latest model is GPT-4 Turbo. Okay, so this is a factual lie. Why is it a lie? Well, it doesn't know that GPT 4.5 came out. Now, you could obviously avoid that by using the search feature here at the bottom, but you can see that whenever you are asking about facts that are after the cutoff date, whatever that date is for the latest model, and this is changing every single time. So this model has information up to a few months ago, so it doesn't know the latest things. So that's number one. ChatGPT is hallucinating in this case. It's just coming up with facts that aren't true. Then let's look at the types of hallucinations, because there are different types of hallucinations. There are factual hallucinations and there are faithfulness hallucinations. So factual hallucinations are when an LLM generates information that is factually incorrect or contradicts established knowledge. LLM stands for large language model, for example, ChatGPT, Grok, Claude, and Gemini, and so forth. There are plenty of them out there right now. So what is a faithfulness hallucination? That's when an LLM's output deviates from input, instructions, or source material. So what's the difference between the two? Well, the one is it just comes up with random facts that aren't true. Number two is where you, for example, have a PDF, let's say a 100-page PDF, and you give that to ChatGPT, and then you let it analyze it, and then you ask about the PDF and you want to know details about what was written in the PDF, and then there is a chance that it still will omit information that was given inside of this PDF, or it will just ignore it, or it will still come up with some incorrect information that isn't written in the PDF at all. And those hallucinations can be further classified. So there are intrinsic hallucinations where the details are made up and are directly conflicting with the source information, and extrinsic hallucinations where details were added that can't be verified from the source information. All right, really important to know. Then there are these rates, and when I saw those, I thought, are they kidding? Like, can I not trust ChatGPT at all? And these are the hallucination rates with the different models. So when I saw that even the latest model, GPT 4.5, has a 37.1% hallucination rate. That's incredible. That's super high, I would say. So basically, a third of the time, it's going to come up with something random that's not true. So how can you trust it? And the same goes for Sonnet and Grok and Gemini 2.0. They all have a super high hallucination rate. And now you can obviously check those out. You can go into the sources and read about those. I'm using Max AI, for example, here, which is this user interface that you see here. And then it just is this article about those numbers and so forth. But who knows who wrote this article, right? It could also have been an AI to write these articles. So you need to trust the source in order to be sure whether the data is true or not. Okay, so up to GPT-4, the hallucination rate was even 61.8%. So then I thought, okay, is that true? Is it really that high? Is it possible that there is such a high hallucination rate? And what does it even mean? Well, the thing is, it obviously depends on what you're using it for and what the situation is. And I couldn't believe that those numbers are true, because just look at those numbers here. What are those? These numbers are drastically lower than what we just saw. And these are from the Vectera hallucination leaderboard. And what is this hallucination leaderboard here? Well, it's basically a public LLM leaderboard computed using the hallucination evaluation model. This evaluates how often an LLM introduces hallucinations when summarizing a document. So the idea here is this is not the same hallucination that we're talking about when we are, for example, telling it to write an essay, all right? So it's going to potentially come up with some other random stuff. But this is really specifically, you're giving it a document where there are truths that are true for that document at least. And even with those considered, the large language model still comes up with wrong facts or something that isn't true. And in this particular use case, you see Google Gemini is pretty reliable and very, very good. And you can obviously check out this leaderboard. I'm not going to go into much more depth here. But you see that there are different levels of hallucination here. All right. So how can you make sure that you can trust the response that you're getting? Well, quick answer or short answer is there is not really a way where you can be 100% certain, but you can reduce the chance of it being wrong. So how can you make sure that the output that you get from your large language model is true? Well, first of all, whenever you're using ChatGPT, instead of using the default ChatGPT, use the search feature here as well whenever you need facts and you need to make sure that the facts are true. So how can you now make sure that the response that you're getting is factually correct? Well, whenever you're using your large language model, make sure that you activate the search the web feature here as well. This will give you resources to the information that you're getting. So for example, who won the Ballon d'Or in 2023, for example. Okay, so this is something where we have a fact. There is no way around it. So we can see Lionel Messi won the Ballon d'Or. Now, if you want to make sure that this is true, well, you can check out the source here. So there are a bunch of sources here: Sky Sports, Sporting News, Ace Football, all the good stuff. All of those are there, and you can check out the resource right here. So that's how you can double check the facts. Other strategies would be to use multiple LLMs. So compare the responses that you get from different large language models. So what you get from ChatGPT, what you get from Gemini, what you get from Grok, and so forth. Compare those to make sure that you get the information right. And then you could implement a fact-checking workflow. So set up automated or semi-automated processes to verify the claims. You could ask another human in the loop or yourself as being the expert in the field, for example. You could check for consistency. So sometimes you just see that a text is inconsistent or facts are inconsistent. And that means that you still need to use your brain, even if you're using tools like ChatGPT. And you can assess the confidence signals. So sometimes models are expressing uncertainty about their response. And if you check about that uncertainty, you get better responses. Okay, so these would be the tips that I would give you in order to make sure that you are getting responses that you can trust and where your ChatGPT isn't lying to you as much. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then please leave a like and hit the subscribe button. And also, if you want to become the AI expert in your team, then check out the link in the description below. There you get access to my course where you can become the AI superstar in your team, the expert that everyone is looking up to. So see you in the next video.